Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today humbled, and I have an opportunity to represent the constituents of Regina Northeast. I would like to start by joining my colleagues on both sides of the House and congratulate you, Mr. Speaker, and Madam Deputy Speaker, on your elections to this seat. I would also like to congratulate all members who have been elected to this Legislative Assembly. As a new member, I sincerely thank my colleagues for their warm welcome into this distinguished body. Mr. Speaker, I would like to extend a great thank you to all of those that helped me to get here. Thank you to my remarkable campaign team, led by my campaign manager, Paul Hamnett, my GOTV manager, Cheryl Spencer, and my business manager, Aaron Metcalf. I had an amazing group of volunteers, including my campaign office manager, Narain, and his wife, Rajula Pandya, door knockers that were there no matter the weather, including Judy Simpson, Rupal Pandya, Donna Rosen, Nigel Sharp, Rupinder and Sonia Sahmi, Kevin Kay, newly elected City Councillor Karina Shaw, Geeta and Ashwin Brahmania, Heather Kuntz, Todd Robbins, and my constituency president, Trent Fraser, to name a few, as the list is extensive. I was especially honored to have the help of my new colleagues, the members of Legislative Assembly, Minister of Education, Minister of Agriculture, member from Melfort, and the esteemed members of Parliament from Regina Leuven, Warren Steinley, Regina Cupel, Andrew Scheer, and Regina Wascana, Michael Cram, for coming out and door knocking with me. For all his guidance throughout these last 2 years, I would like to thank Patrick Bundrock and his staff at the SAS Party office. Next, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank my family. I am extremely fortunate to have the love and support of my wonderful wife of 37 years, Seema. Seema has advocated, encouraged, and helped me in so many ways to get me here today. I am also grateful for the immense support given from my all 3 children, Simran, Indu, and TJ, who gave up weeks of their time away from their own lives and careers to help me on my campaign. Finally, it is crucial that I thank the people of Regina Northeast for entrusting me as their elected representative. Mr. Speaker, my parents are no longer with us, but they instilled me with great values. I could talk to my dad about anything. He was my best friend and always gave me the best advice. Upon moving to Canada, he advised me to make my home in one place and not continually move around. So I came to Regina, planted my roots, and grew my family and my community around me. Mr. Speaker, Simran, my oldest daughter, got her business degree from University of Regina, and after getting married, was working as an account manager at Bank of Montreal. One Christmas, as we were gathered around my brother-in-law's kitchen island for supper, we had a debate about current affairs. Simran led the debate, and I stated, "Simran, you are in a wrong profession. You should have been a lawyer." We left the conversation there. The next morning, she calls me and said, "Dad, do you remember what you said last night to me?" I replied, "I said way too many things. Which one are you talking about?" Her answer was, "Me becoming a lawyer." I replied, "Yes," to which she said, "Okay, I will do it on one condition." Not knowing what she would say next, I asked, "What is your condition?" To which she replied, "Only if you will pay for my tuition fees." I agreed to this condition, and we both kept our promises. Mr. Speaker, she is now a very busy and successful lawyer. She is married to my son-in-law, Jag, who is a petroleum engineer and has 2 beautiful children. My first grandchild, Mila, is 4 years old. She often says her best friend is her grandpa, although this may have something to do with the candy I give her. A couple of months ago, I called her and said, "Mila, I miss you. I want to come see you." She said, "You can't come now because so many people are sick out there. If you come, you can't stay with us." I was surprised that even at the age of 4, she understood the health crisis we are going through. I guess these little ones pay more attention to the adults around them than we think. Niam, my grandson, is 2 years old, and he is my best buddy. He often makes me smile when he runs and jumps in and out of my lap. Mr. Speaker, Indu, my younger daughter, was always serious about her studies and was an A student. She knew what she wanted out of life at an early age. She worked hard and got 2 degrees, first in psychology and then in social services, specializing in youth and child care work. She is very passionate and is now putting those degrees to work as a resource social worker. Mr. Speaker, TJ, my son, on the other hand, was not as serious about his studies. One day, as TJ and I were driving back from Musha, I asked him, TJ, what do you want to study at the university after you graduate from the high school? He responded on a very serious note, Dad, I don't have to go to university. I will just manage your business. I stated, either you can enjoy life now and struggle the rest of your life, or spend 4 years studying now and enjoy the rest of your life later. To this, he responded, well, if I go to university, I will lose all my friends. I told him, you will never lose your true friends. He took my advice, got his engineering degree from the University of Regina, and now he is a professional engineer working as a project manager with PCL and married to a beautiful girl, Raylene Knaus, who is like my third daughter now. Mr. Speaker, I came to Canada in 1983. Nobody had even heard of Saskatchewan in India, but I flew into Regina as an excited young man in my early 20s. The mid-80s in Saskatchewan were a tough time. The economy was bad and there were no jobs. I started out doing various small odd jobs to support my family. When my children were small, my wife worked evenings, so I was mom and dad both in the evenings. Every Saturday and Sunday morning, I would make breakfast for my children. I would wait until 10 a.m. to wake the kids up by calling, sunny side up, coming right up. They would grudgingly come down, but loved my full breakfast of bacon, sausage, eggs, and homemade hash browns. Mr. Speaker, when I got into the hospitality business, the first business we owned was the Shane Inn and Steakhouse, located 40 minutes east of Regina in Indian Head. From there, we expanded further into the hospitality industry, having owned several hotels, motels, and restaurants, such as Best Western, Thrift Lodge, Travel Lodge, Howard Johnson, and Quizno restaurants. Mr. Speaker, I truly believe that anything is achievable in our beautiful province of Saskatchewan if you work hard and work smart. In business, I always believed in balancing the books, and I'm looking forward to working with a government who also believes in doing the same. Mr. Speaker, my political story started in April of 2018. I was retired and content with my life. My friend said, you have worked so hard all your life volunteering, why stop now? I had volunteered in civic, provincial, and federal elections. I had held the position of President of the India-Canada Association of Saskatchewan, Chairman and Ambassador of the India Pavilion during Regina's annual Mosaic festivities, President of Saskatchewan Cricket Association, played for Saskatchewan in inter-provincial cricket tournaments, Director of the Canadian Cricket Association, and President of the Sikh Society of Regina. And in 2016, I was honored to serve as the Chairman of the Organizing Committee for the first ever annual Sikh Day Parade organized in Saskatchewan. Thousands of people attended that parade, Mr. Speaker. Regina community has given me a lot, and I felt now is the time to give it back to the community. Mr. Speaker, my good friends Sharat Pandit, Bob Dhinsa, Happy Sandhu, Bill Singh, Kulbir Bhuktana, and my brother Nirmal had a big hand in getting me nominated for the very first time. On September 12, 2018, after the Regina Northeast by-election, the SAS party had gathered at the Ramada Hotel to watch the results. In my concession speech, upon losing my first by-election, I promised to all present there that this is not the end of my story, but was just the beginning. I promised to bring this seat back to the Saskatchewan party that day. Then, this October 26th, I found myself standing in the same hotel, in the same room, on the same very spot, and my promise to get there came true. Mr. Speaker, promise made and promise kept. Thanks to the love and support of the people of Regina Northeast, I have been able to do that. Now, here I am today, 100% committed to the good people of Regina Northeast. I have a sentimental attachment with my riding of Regina Northeast because my very first home I bought was on Turner Crescent in Glencairn. Mr. Speaker, my constituency of Regina Northeast is like a beautiful garden full of multicolored flowers and fragrances. Just like our nation, it is full of multiculturalism and diversity, and also of love for neighbors and the community. See, it has many small businesses, restaurants, convenience stores, gyms, bowling alley, and trucking companies. Also, we have a big co-op refinery, factories like the Coca-Cola bottling plant and Minhas distillery. So, Mr. Speaker, nobody goes thirsty from my constituency. Mr. Speaker, in the last couple of years, during the 2018 by-election, my 2019 nomination, and the 2020 election, I have had the exceptional opportunity to meet thousands of residents in my constituency. I was elated to find that the citizens of Regina Northeast were extremely engaged in this recent election as they took time to share with me their ideas and concerns for both their community and the province as a whole. They also do not hide their political affiliations. While out gaining support for this year's election, my wife Seema knocked on a home with 2 barking dogs. The owner answered the door, saw the SAS Party pamphlets in her hand, and informed the dogs that, hey, it was the good guys, so they could be quiet now. On these same doorsteps, in the past several months, whether I was in Glencairn or Glenelm, Eastview or Park Ridge, Uplands or Creekside, the distress of COVID-19 was persistent. As COVID-19 transmission rates in Saskatchewan rose, resulting in serious illnesses and deaths, it placed our province under increasing strain. Constituents who range in age and income and work in different industries and areas of service are all struggling to maintain a sense of normalcy during this pandemic. They are not able to visit with their friends and loved ones like they used to do. They cannot celebrate in large groups for significant celebrations such as graduations, weddings, births, or milestone birthdays. How they do their job are changing, and in some cases are being lost. The ever-changing nature of COVID has created so many hardships and uncertainties for everyone, including small business owners. Many have had to decrease their services and even close their doors, taking a great financial loss to help keep the public safe. Mr. Speaker, the Saskatchewan Small Business Emergency Payment was introduced to assist with this loss to small and medium-sized business affected by the pandemic. The small business tax reduction to 0% and the 10% savings on SAS Power announced in the throne speech will also be a huge help in this extremely challenging time for these business owners who employs hundreds of thousands of people in our province. Mr. Speaker, I need to also recognize the heroes who worked tirelessly during this time, who helped strengthen our resolve. They are the frontline workers. Those who worked in hospitals, our schools, childcare, grocery stores, food delivery, truck drivers, and all others who continue to deliver essential services. To all of them, I say thank you. I know that I can speak on behalf of all my constituents when I say a heartfelt thank you to all of those that have sacrificed, that have had to put their lives on hold, whether it's to support a loved one, to homeschool their children, or who have helped provide childcare for a family member or a friend. And to all of those that really stepped up and made sure that the services that we all rely on were there. Mr. Speaker, I stand here today knowing that the people of Saskatchewan are looking to us to guide them through this. I look forward to working with my colleagues here today to come up with solutions for solving this public health crisis and the inevitable economic challenges we will face when we are finally over it. Thanks to the sacrifice and vigilance of the people of Saskatchewan, our province has continued to fight together to reduce the spread of COVID-19. As both elected officials and members of our community, we must work together to lay the groundwork for a strong, inclusive, and sustainable economic recovery that ensures no one is left behind. Thanks to the diligence already shown by our SAS Party-led government, Saskatchewan has the lowest unemployment rate in Canada, and merchandise exports are growing faster in our province than any other province in the nation. The mid-year update released by the Minister of Finance also shows that Saskatchewan's finances are already improving, with the deficit declining by nearly $400 million since the budget was tabled in June. Under Saskatchewan's growth plan, I know this decline in debt will continue by taking greater control of our trade relationships with the addition of 3 more international trade offices in Japan, India, and Singapore. The 50% increase in exports, the creation of 100,000 jobs, and the increase of the provincial population to 1.4 million by 2030 will also aid in this reduction of debt. Mr. Speaker, while door knocking, I had my conversations with families that have had issues with mental health. The appointment of the Minister to oversee mental health and addictions programming in our province and the record $435 million investment in these services from the throne speech will provide great support to those struggling with the challenges of mental health and addictions. Mr. Speaker, a further demonstration of our government's commitment to support those who are most vulnerable is the 24 times increase of funding since 2007 to $12 million a year. For families of children with autism spectrum disorder, in conjunction with this will be an additional $6,000 a year to cover the cost of individualized therapeutic supports beginning in the new year, as was outlined in the throne speech. Mr. Speaker, I was so proud to hear of the recent funding provided by our SAS Party government to improve services for deaf-blind people. Working with the CNIB Foundation and Saskatchewan Deaf and Hard of Hearing Services will allow the hiring of professionals who help deaf-blind people navigate the world with one-on-one support from sign language interpreters and interveners. Interveners are professionals who act as a deaf-blind client's eyes and ears and help to alleviate the isolation that person may be facing. This funding will also allow Saskatchewanians who are deaf-blind to access a 24-hour interpreter and intervener line of emergency support. This landmark decision to provide funding makes Saskatchewan the first province outside of Ontario to provide funding for CNIB deaf-blind community services, representing a monumental step for Canada's deaf-blind community, which many believe to be isolated and underserved. This government has also committed in the throne speech to build on this progress over the next 3 years with the hiring of 3 additional deaf-blind interveners, 3 new American Sign Language interpreters, another sign support professional, and 1 additional case manager. Mr. Speaker, an expansion to the support for people living with diabetes was also stated. The Saskatchewan insulin pump program was broadened to include all individuals under the age of 25 with type 1 diabetes. The program will now expand eligibility and will cover the cost of an insulin pump for everyone in Saskatchewan who needs one under the age of 25. Mr. Speaker, a related issue that was prevalent in my riding is the need to see real investments in our seniors. The suggestion of our government investing in the bedside care of seniors in long-term care homes was heard repeatedly. The SAS Party government has already shown that seniors are a priority to this government by opening 15 new long-term care home facilities and have tripled the seniors' income benefit plan from $90 to $270, which will soon be quadrupled to $360 a month. The significant reduction to the cost of ambulance calls for seniors by eliminating charges for inter-facility transfers and reducing the maximum cost of other calls by over 50% from $275 to $135 per call will be a great savings for our seniors living on fixed incomes. The additional 300 new continuing care aides being hired to work in long-term care, as announced in the throne speech, is a great investment into bedside care, as was the temporary wage top-up given to existing care workers. By these actions, I know that we can and will support our seniors. The people who helped build this province into the successful communities we share today are deserving of this consideration moving forward. Mr. Speaker, on the other end of the spectrum, I am proud of the investment being put into our youth that was outlined in the throne speech. As I had mentioned earlier in speaking about my children, I am very passionate about educating our youth. I realize that they are going to be our future leaders, and it is them that will be running our beautiful nation. The $85 million education investment to ensure our children can study safely helped relieve some of the anxiety parents and teachers faced as kids returned to the school. The social disruption caused by the pandemic has created especially difficult times for our next generation. The active families benefit that will cover the cost of participation in sports, arts, and cultural activities will be a great help to getting them back into doing the things they love. The Community Rink Affordability Program will also help the whole family in this aspect, as the local rinks in my constituency are always a hub of social and physical activity. The Graduate Retention Program and the 50% increase to the Saskatchewan Advantage Scholarship will help relieve some of the financial burden on our young adults. The Saskatchewan Homeowners Tax Credit will not only help families by providing a rebate on eligible renovation expenses, but will also help boost the construction sector. Mr. Speaker, on a related note, the new Ministry of Sask Builds and Procurement announced in the throne speech will go a long way to help manage the infrastructure projects and assets of our province more effectively. With this new ministry overseeing the development and implementation of standardized government procurement processes and information technology infrastructure, I believe we are becoming more efficient, which will save our province not only time but also money. With all this new stimulus funding announced in the throne speech, I believe that we are primed to have a strong economic recovery. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, I am truly honored to represent the constituents of Regina Northeast as we move forward in these unprecedented times to make it through this pandemic and rebuild our province to be even stronger than before. I look forward to participating in the session of the legislature and to have the opportunity to take part in debate and to advocate for my constituents. In order to do that, Mr. Speaker, I will be supporting the speech from the throne and will not be supporting the amendment from the opposition. Thank you.